I'm Tony J. Larb, class 2020, hour 3.
I'm Nick Knudsen, class of 2020, hour 2.
Matt Walton, class of 2020, hour 2, and this is our energy project. So, technology is being replaced. Coal, it's a big one. It's a greenhouse gas. It's not good for the environment. And by 2050, our environment might be dead. There's a total of 3 coal power plants in Minnesota. It makes up about 60% of Minnesota's electricity, and it's base load. And then natural gas is another big one. There's a total of 11 plants in Minnesota. Fuels 18% of the electricity, and then it is base load as well.
All right. Solar last year created 882 megawatts in Minnesota, and there's about 8,500 acres being used, which is 6,400 football fields. But to achieve 70% of production of all of Minnesota's electricity being used, we need 16,000 megawatts produced by solar. And one megawatt takes 7 to 10 acres, which is about 5.3 to 7.6 football fields. And to get 16,000 megawatts of production, we need 220,000 acres, which is 167,000 football fields. The price of solar panels are dropping. Well, have been dropping over the past 10 years. It's dropped 88% since 2009, and it costs about $1 million for a 1 megawatt system of solar panels, which means it'll cost about $16 billion to get 16,000 megawatts. And the elements needed to produce solar panels are silicone, the element silicone, but it's one of the most abundant elements on Earth, so that's not a huge deal. And positives of solar, it's pretty easy, free electricity. If there's a drought, we're still going to have it. It doesn't matter. But a negative, it takes a lot of land.
So the next technology we had in our project is going to be wind power. In 2016, Minnesota had a total of 3,500 megawatts, which was 6th in the whole nation for wind energy produced. And the total amount of wind production in Minnesota is 18%. There are currently 20 facilities currently in Minnesota, and at a capacity that we would need to reach would be about 75% that we would need to be added. Wind turbines, what they're made of is 71 to 79% steel, fiberglass, or resin, or plastic at 11 to 16%. It needs iron or cast iron at 5 to 17%. And aluminum at 0 to 2% to be made. Some that you need to have these turbines are going to be obviously a large amount of space opening. A 2 megawatt turbine would take about 1.5 acres, and after some calculations, I found that we would need about 7,000 wind turbines needed to achieve our goal. That would be about 10,500 acres, and that's about almost 8,000 football fields. The cost for a new wind turbine really is about 1.3 to 2.2 million per megawatt. And if you wanted a big commercial scale one, it would be about 3 to 4 million just for the installation. Pros and cons of the wind turbine. Some pros are obviously you use the Earth's natural effects to produce energy. It's clean. You can get small ones, so you could put them in like your backyard at times, but some cons are obviously they're not appealing to some people with their size. Next up, you have shadowing, which is where if someone lives close by it, when the wind turbine spins, it'll flicker, and it could cause like a shadow effect that happens over and over for some people who live close to them. Next up is they kill birds a lot. They kill a couple hundred birds every year from them just flying into it.
Our third and final proposition for most efficient energy in 2050 is hydroelectric. So as of now, there's 27 hydroelectric plants in Minnesota, and last year they produced 228 megawatts of power. Hydroelectric is base load. 56,357 acres covered by these energy systems, or about 42,694 football fields. The cost is pretty expensive. It's $2.5 billion to make just one dam. The only resource you really need is water. And then for 2050, we need about 1,600 megawatts to achieve 70% production. And then that equates to 425,000 acres, or about 321,969 football fields. Some pros of hydroelectric power and energy are that it's natural. It's one of the most natural resources that you can use. It's just water. Um, they're they produce relatively a decent amount of power in megawatts. And then some of the cons are that they're really expensive. I mean, $2.5 billion is a lot. And then another con is that they kill a lot of aquatic life. A lot of fish die by going through the dams and stuff.
Rain and a little bit of money, we put it back in the plate. I guess it's why they call it God's country.
To blow wind through the turbine, to the hot sun shining down on the solar panels, to the fresh, cool water flowing through the dam. Our plan is worthy and the most efficient for 2050 because Minnesota has a lot of land that we can use for wind turbines, solar panels, and to even create other dams as long as they're by a water source. And then it's also most efficient because these are the three most natural things natural resources we have on Earth. They're the most God-made. You got wind, you got sun, and you got fresh flowing water. So I mean, nothing can beat that, really.
I also want to add that this kind of flows in with Tim Wall's idea that he said the same thing for 2050, that he wants to convert Minnesota's energy use to 100%. All these renewable sources that are very not harmful to the earth, but easy. But they're going to be hard to adjust to as well. But in Minnesota and some other states, there's also a lot of dead land that could be sold off possibly, or convert farmers into producing these electricity and getting paid back for it to make a living as well off this.